This interview is sponsored by Dave Birnbaum and the RE/MAX community. Buying and selling a house can be really tricky right now. You need a realtor you can trust. And I can speak from experience. Dave Birnbaum is the best in the business. If you're going to buy with Birn. 856-524-2927. That's 856-524-2927. Enjoy the show. Joe McNally.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, man. So you're an 825 operator, and your side hustle is cannabis consultant.
Correct.
So what's that mean exactly?
I could start from the beginning, but it's going to be a long story. But
I know we got time.
Kind of a cannabis consultant / broker. Me and my partner, Fran Campbell, we located a bunch of different properties in South Jersey that fit the parameters to either cultivate, manufacture, or retail for cannabis. And we reached out and we were able to obtain letters of support, which through the municipality means they're giving you their blessing for you to operate cannabis in their jurisdiction. Some towns haven't opted in. The ones that did are starting to see revenue, although it was slow coming out of the gate. But it is starting to come around and people are starting to see the lights. But what we do is we identify properties, we obtain letters of support, and then we have a network of professional growers from Oklahoma, California, Oregon, who are now all dying to come east and grow in New Jersey because it's Jersey's a hotbed right now.
How about the dispensaries? Like how do you recruit these businesses?
Well, to build from the ground up in New Jersey is very difficult as far as any type of retail, cultivation, or manufacturing. So what you want to do is you want to try to identify properties that are existing. And then if they fit the parameters, which is very difficult, some towns are 500 feet from a place of worship. They only have certain corridors that you're allowed to retail in. And some towns only have a certain number of retail letters of support available. The way the state and the CRC set this up was to give the municipalities a lot of control over the people in their town that are operating. So I do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. I do a lot of OPA requests. I request a lot of the revenue from different dispensaries to see how they're performing. And you'd be surprised. I mean, some of these dispensaries, up in North Jersey, Edison or Newark, Trenton, they're probably doing like $800,000 a month in revenue.
A month?
A month.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying that the municipality gets 2%
direct 2% direct revenue
of revenue.
Yeah.
Whew.
So some of these towns are seeing major numbers as far as just from the retail side of things. There's not many towns that have cultivation operating because of the restrictions, because of the difficulty to get up and running. But what's happening now is a lot of these towns and a lot of these networks that we have, a lot of these growers, they're seeing the benefits of, hey, we could do like a mixed farm grow here. We could do partially outdoor. When I say outdoor, I mean in a grow house that doesn't have human controls and environmental controls. And if there's existing structures on the property, they can do a full year-round grow in there. So you're doing kind of like a mixed bag. You're doing a year-round cultivation and you're doing a mixed light grow to generate biomass and different types of product that the market's demanding right now.
So how do you get this pot of, no pun intended, how do you get this pot of like growers, dispensary owners? Like how do you pull from that? Like where do they come from?
So when I originally started, I was living on a farm in Waterford, and I was working night work one night down the Atlantic City Airport, and it was right when New Jersey had granted the medical portion to go legal. We got delayed like an hour or like 3 hours because of fog, and our superintendent's like, I don't even know if we're going to work tonight. Some of the guys went to the bar. I got in my truck, and I started reading the iPad of the CRC regulations on how to grow in New Jersey. So I contacted the guy whose property I was living on. I presented the idea. He said, "You see what you want to do. Let's do the legwork and see how you progress." And I basically self-educated myself on the parameters, on the legislation. I bought in Fran Campbell, who's like, I call him my Rain Man. He, you could give him a detail at night. He doesn't sleep, and in the morning my email box will be full. Like, here's all your answers. He's a research king. When I brought him on, he really, propelled us into the next level, and that's when we started getting a lot of behind the scenes talk. These guys know what they're talking about and things. So after that first venture, it didn't work out because the guy whose farm we were living on decided he wanted to come home and have full control and whatever. So we kind of just left. But instead of getting mad about it, I said, you know what? We just educate ourselves. We know how to, each town has different parameters when it comes to how their laws are set up. So we started navigating different places, and we just started reaching out to different growers. We got in touch with Monty from Lemon Cannabis, who Monty's my man. He got us this first opportunity. We're actually getting ready to put our application in the first week of May to the CRC. You won't believe how much legwork is behind the scenes to get to that point. We also networked with Will and Sebastian from Magic Hour. They are phenomenal organic growers. They have a really good operation right now in Neptune, and they're also looking to come south, below Exit 9. We have a grower out in Oklahoma who is actually the grower who's going to take this property in Waterford, what we have, and that's the application we're getting ready to submit in May. It's called Invincible Cannabis. So just through word of mouth and networking, we were able to establish a fabulous network of growers. We have a fabulous law firm, Archer and Griner, Bill Caruso, who basically wrote the legislation for the state of New Jersey. He is our attorney, and Ellie Siegel and Jake from Longview Strategic, they do all our logistic paperwork, our applications, and behind the scenes stuff for us. But it was a very, very educational process for us, and it still is every day.
How long? How long has it been? Like that rain day, or
just
from that fog?
Just about 3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm. And the regulations are constantly changing.
Mm-hmm. Is it getting looser?
It rolls back to the municipalities. Like, if somebody came to you and said you're a struggling municipality, right, and you need new roads and you need new infrastructure, but you're stuck because you don't want to raise taxes on these residents, right? Here's free money, dude. Like, we're going to come into your town, we're going to grow pot. You're not going to know whether we're growing pot or marigolds. And the 2% revenue now from these cultivation facilities could be anywhere between $300,000 and $700,000 a year from one cultivation into these municipalities. And a lot of them, we've done presentations in different towns. We've done presentations in Tabernacle. We've talked to people in Gloucester Township. Many of the mayors that I speak to, their first reaction is, I was immediately not in my town. Not in my town. It's going to bring the riffraff. It's going to bring problems. We don't want it in our town. You know what they're saying 3 years later? I don't know how we would survive without the revenue.
I wonder how that's still a sentiment, that you're just going to attract riffraff.
Well, like I said, I OPA request a lot of the dispensaries and their revenue. But on top of the OPA request, I request how many calls for service did the police department have at those facilities? 0.
Yeah.
Potheads will sit at a stop sign and wait for it to turn green. The drunk is going to run the stop sign and kill you.
Well, you see it like Belmar, I think, was one of the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's where Cureleaf generated on it.
Yeah, and they had like lines wrapped around the building, and there was never any problems there.
Yeah,
that was like right off the expressway. It was not, it was very accessible. You could smell it, driving 80 miles an hour.
That's one of the major stipulations, believe it or not, in these municipalities.
Is the smell?
You must control the smells. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, there's a variety of ways, misters, suppressors, but it's like anything. Like when we went to, I think it was Tabernacle, one of the council members said, well, we don't like the smell of cannabis. I said, well, what if I moved in next to a guy that boards horses and I don't like the smell of horse shit? You're a farmer. This is what I'm farming, And I feel bad for these farmers because before we did the presentation, I spoke to a lot of them. And their major concerns are the rising cost of fertilizer, the rising cost of operations to keep your farm open. And the other thing that was really surprising was we're in our 60s and 70s. Who's going to take this operation over when we're done? Because in case you haven't noticed, the next generation really doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
So during our presentation, I said, look, we got 5 universities within 50 square miles teaching kids how to grow pot. And they're giving them degrees in how to grow pot. Let's give them a place to grow it. These kids coming out of college aren't going to have the funding to start their own, venture, but they would gladly come into, a farm who the guy's tired of making $4.50 for strawberries. Now you're going to tell them they're going to make, $3,200 for a pound of weed. Their ears go up. And now they're like, well, why not? It's an agriculturally approved product in the state of New Jersey. The only thing that people get mad at is it's not a federally approved product yet. They just deregulated it. Scheduled it down, but they still haven't approved it yet.
Now, when they do approve it, are you still going to be met with the same resistance from the municipality? Like, are they still going to have the option to say no at that point?
No, I think they will. I think what's happening now at the state level, these towns that haven't opted in, they're starting to see that the state's messing with their funding a little bit, like their state funding. Like, okay, well, listen, we gave you 4 or 5 different avenues to try to bring your self-revenue in, or your self-funding into place, your financials in order, but you haven't opted into cannabis. Why should we keep giving you money if you're not taking the olive branches that we're offering you? And a lot of them don't really have any answers.
So the state's messing with the municipalities that are putting ordinances?
There's talk at the state legislation now that if you're not opted in, you may see a decrease in state funding.
Huh.
Which I don't see why they wouldn't.
Well, what does New Jersey stand to gain? Like, what are the...
13%.
God damn, yeah.
And last year they did, I think it was $1.8 billion in revenue.
So if a town opts in and they're making an additional $500,000 a year, does the state consider that $500,000 a year when they are, dishing out grants?
I'm sure they do, yeah. But the nice thing about the CRC and what they did with these towns is you can take up to 50% of one venture. Like, say you had your own cannabis cultivation facility and you generated $250,000 in tax revenue for the town. The town can take $125,000 of that and apply it towards a new fire truck and make the payments over the next 3 years. So the town essentially is getting a free fire truck without raising taxes on these people. The people in Tabernacle were coming out to the meeting saying, we're getting taxed out of our home. Like the retirees, we're getting taxed out of our houses.
Well, Tabernacle, that's a tough one because that's right on the water.
No?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's wetlands, but
yeah,
there's parameters everywhere. I mean, there's existing farms. Why not let them grow cannabis?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that, like, eventually Tabernacle is going to end up, what kind of wetlands? You can't get to an ocean from Tabernacle?
No.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
No.
What am I thinking of?
No. Oh, you're thinking of Tuckerton.
I am thinking of Tuckerton. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking. So can you bargain with these municipalities all? Like, could you say 3%?
No. The state mandated at 2 for the municipalities and at 13 for the state. But it's 15% revenue off the top.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're generating the kind of numbers that some of these cultivators are generating, you could do 400 pounds every harvest.
And what are some of the municipalities giving you the biggest problems?
Well, a lot of them seem to think it's a red or blue issue because Democrats introduced this. A lot of the old-time GOP guys are just like, nope, we don't want to hear another word about it. Some of them have said, you know what, let's try it. We'll only allow 4 or 5 cultivator letters of support in our town. We're only going to allow 2 letters of support for retail. We're only going to allow 1 letter of support for manufacturing and see how it goes. They're getting $1,000. Some of these towns are getting $1,000 just for the application. But some of the answers I was getting were just absolutely ridiculous.
Like what? What'd you hear?
Well, one guy said he was concerned that the Chinese were going to come in and take over all the farms. And I said, well,
Where was this?
Tabernacle. So I said, well, the CRC and the state police vet every applicant that comes through. It's harder to get a CRC license than it is to get a driver's license. What's the difference if the guy that's the applicant is Russian, Irish, or Chinese? Like, but yet there's a Chinese massage parlor right there on 206. Like, I asked the guy, I said, do you eat Chinese food? Like, what do you got against the Chinese?
Yeah.
You know? The other guy said that he didn't want to be the one that the high school kids knew he allowed cannabis to come into his town. So I asked him, I said, do you have an Instagram or YouTube channel? He's like, no. I said, well, nobody in high school knows cigar. Don't worry about it. So, you know, a lot of the town in the 2020 election, there was a referendum. It's question number 1 on the ballot. Do you want cannabis in your town? And they voted 3-1. Yes, we want it in our town. And these politicians who are elected are snubbing their nose at their constituents.
I know that's the case in Hamilton. I know Hamilton was pro pot in the town, and it can't get passed. The argument in Hamilton is that their concern is kind of immeasurable. Like, what businesses are we preventing from coming into the town if we do allow these dispensaries or grow farms? Are we preventing businesses that would otherwise come into town? And what businesses would maybe opt out of their lease, you know, if we do allow this?
Well, then that's their right to create their own ordinance, to say it has to be a standalone building because we're not going to subject a resident who's renting next door to the smells. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Yeah. They could make their own ordinance. It's only allowed on, like Chemung did. It's only allowed on the 206 quarter.
It's allowed in Chemung?
Yeah, Chemung Diners now is going to be a dispensary.
Oh, man, we're way behind Chemung. What's going on here?
Right. Yeah, you're behind Chemung. You're behind.
Yeah, what the hell?
But, yeah, they have the right to say, okay, we're only going to allow 6 dispensaries in X, Y, and Z zone.
It sounds like such a slam dunk.
Well,
can you see the opposing view? Like, can you understand it to any extent?
Yeah, they're saying it's a gateway drug. But have you ever gone to the doctor? It's the first thing they do, put you on drugs. You know, the Vicodins,
Well, to your point, too, is you know, every municipality, like every other municipality, is allowing it. So
there's some municipalities who are telling us bring more. We want it.
Yeah, I mean, so if you say no, it's because it's a gateway drug. Like, okay, we'll just drive 5 minutes down the street and get it then.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, so it's a gateway drug, but most supermarkets right now are selling alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Most supermarkets right now are selling lottery tickets. So what do we consider a gateway drug? Alcohol or marijuana? Just because it was once illegal, now it's legal.
It's just like this, it's like this long-standing, you know, like view of pot as a drug, you know, that like a lot of the older generation, I feel like can't get over it.
But yet half of them are probably smoking it.
It still feels a little, I mean, to be honest, it does feel funny that it's like legal, like still, because like our whole lives it's been, but you can't do it.
If you read the laws, it's 21 and over for recreational use or a medical card. You know, 18-year-olds can't go in and buy it. Mm-hmm. It's just like buying alcohol. So if it's regulated properly, what is their issues other than most cases I'm finding it's personal prejudice? They either had a son or a daughter who was addicted to drugs and they blamed cannabis, or just personal preference, not in my town.
I had a professor at Rowan that said the you know, pot being illegal never stopped one joint from being smoked.
No.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, you know, if you wanted it, you could always get it.
Right, just like any other drug.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if you want it in any municipality, you can find it.
Yeah.
And you almost can make the case that you're inviting riffraff in by not allowing it because you're opening up this black market for it.
Right. Black market's still strong. In some of these towns,
I mean, you know, what do you think that there's, you know, what's a good municipality that's getting a lot of pot? I don't know.
Well, Mount Laurel, if you've ever been up on 73.
Yeah, Mount
Laurel.
They
have 3 within walking distance.
Yeah, Mount Laurel. That's a great one. So do you think there's a lot of like weed dealers in Mount Laurel? Probably not. Why would anyone go? Why would anyone do that?
Price.
Right.
Or you go into a dispensary, it's a little expensive, but at least you know
Yeah,
where
but they
you're getting.
deliver now.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring it right to your house. It's like super regulated. You know exactly what you're getting. You
That
don't have
was
to
one of
worry
my
about
other
it.
arguments with the town, with Tabernacle. Like, you go to that Sunoco station on 206, every window is vapes. Vape this, vape that. None of that stuff's been tested. Everything that comes out of CRC goes to a lab. It has to be tested. It has to be processed. There's a very strict seed to sale process that they follow. It's through the metric system. They can track that plant from the time you put the seed into the pot until the time it's sold out the door at the dispensary.
So, like in New Jersey, does it have to be everything from New Jersey?
Yes.
Like if you buy it in New Jersey, it's being grown in New Jersey.
Zero interstate commerce at this point.
And that's a blanket across all states.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if they federally allow it, now you're going to open up interstate commerce. Now you're going to see all of a sudden Big Pharma is going to say, hey, wait, you don't need Vicodin, you need pot. Now we're going to issue you pot.
Yeah, you're right. Might be a good time to buy like some Pfizer or something. Yeah?
Right.
I wonder like if that would open it up for global trade. If we could get over this tariff situation.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't it? If it's federally allowed, why wouldn't it?
I don't know. It just seems like it almost seems like a good reason not to federally allow it is to not allow the drugs in or the pot in from other countries.
Look how much fentanyl just came across the border in the last 4 years.
Yeah, but you know in Mexico that they could produce it for much cheaper than they can in America.
Just like everything.
Yeah, exactly. So why not just keep this like thing like our...
Well, that's why I think a lot of states don't want it to go federal because they're seeing the revenue now and they're becoming dependent.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, yeah.
They're becoming very dependent on it.
Yeah.
You know?
And what are they going to do? Like you're an 825 operator. When are they ever going to like stop testing us for this?
I don't think you'll ever see it because the way our industry is, they're so safety conscious that if they said, yeah, you're allowed to smoke pot, and then there was an accident on the job site, now they're culpable.
Yeah, but if you're not high, like unless you smoked 3 seconds ago, it's not affecting you.
How do you know? And I don't smoke pot, but how do you know how long ago someone smoked and how high they are? If you come up with that method,
right, exactly,
you're going to be an instant millionaire.
Yeah, I thought they were doing something to try and come up with a method for that.
Yeah, they are, but it hasn't been scientifically tested.
I thought they could
yet.
get it to like 8 hours.
Well, I haven't heard anything that's been certified through the state or where they allow it, like the breathalyzer or the Alka-Test.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like that should be like a pretty high priority because that would open up a lot for.
And I think it would put a lot of people at ease. Now you're able to really regulate it.
Yeah.
Like, is this guy high driving? You don't know.
Right. Exactly.
But is he high from a vape? Is he high from pot? What's he high from?
So, what's like what are you working on now? What township?
Well, we just did our submission for Waterford Township. It's a mixed grow. We have a manufacturing facility in Summerdale that we're hoping to put on the books probably by the middle of May. And then hopefully another grow, another mixed outdoor grow, indoor grow, probably by midsummer.
Now, do you just have like realtors looking for these spots? Like, hey, look, I need a place like this, like this, and like this in this town.
I got the best realtor in South Jersey.
Who is it?
Nicolette McNally.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We got Dave
we got to get her
sponsor.
on the. We got to get her on the wall.
We do. We got to get her on the wall. Try to get a sponsorship ad. Yeah, no problem.
But it's come to a point now where people are actually reaching out for us. Like, hey, I have this building, or I have this building that might become available. So we kind of do our research, preliminary research on it, and then we kind of reach out to our pool of investors to see who wants to get involved. Right now, with the way the market is, people are kind of put a freeze on it to see what happens. But for the ones that are in the wheelhouse and moving, we're moving forward.
Do you have to own the building, or does that matter?
You can lease it, but you've got to call it what they call site control. Mm-hmm. That the owner of the property is giving you the site control to build on.
So that's a big investment if you're leasing it, especially because you're getting no equity.
Well, you could structure it that way. Like, hey, I'd be willing to put a lot of IT into this, and improve my building if you give me 3%, 5% equity. So some people want equity, and some people are like, I want nothing to do with it. Just pay me every month.
Yeah.
The guy from Summerdale is a really interesting story. His name's Ken. He built a structure in Summerdale that had a cultivation site approval for it. And I guess the guy was back and forth, and he was having a tough time coming up with funding. So he reached out to us and he said, hey, you guys interested in looking at this? Well, I read the ordinance, and here comes the smell issue, right? It said if you get repeated complaints for smells, they have a right to shut you down. Well, who's going to lease a building for 10 years with that hanging over their head? You might get the lady down the street who hates pot and just keeps calling every day. Hey, I smell pot. I smell pot. So I asked the town, and they were like, yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to switch that from a cultivation application to a manufacturing application. There's not as much smell that comes out of the facility, and it was kind of smaller than your desirable cultivation facility. It was only 6,500 square feet, where you could do a really nice manufacturing in there. So we went to the town. They love cannabis in Summerdale. They're like, yeah, bring it on in. So that's where we're kind of structuring that next deal now.
That's the thing too. Like, even if a town has that kind of a rule that they could just come shut you down, it's like, well, once they start getting the money, like you start getting $40,000 checks a month, it's like, right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's all right.
I don't smell
there's a skunk over there. What are you talking about?
But I guess, when it's a new venture, it's a new thing in town, they really have to tread lightly and see how it goes.
Man, it's just crazy the backlash you could get from that. I mean, like, what have you tried in Hamilton?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Has no one on your team has?
No, because we're just kind of waiting in the background. So I got a couple of people looking out for it, but they just they seem to be back and forth. At one point, it was close, right? It was like a 4-3 vote that they were close, and then
on the council.
Yeah,
it could be. I know that, like, so Tom Gribbin, who came in last week, he is a mayoral candidate. Has a pretty good shot of getting in. He's been on town council for a long time. I think 13 years, he said, or something, 17 years. He's an attorney, so he looks at everything. I mean, he don't, he dots all his I's and crosses all his T's. And if it's something that makes sense, it sounds like, all right, let's think a little bit more about it. I mean, his initial reaction, like you said, is like, nope, not on my watch,
So what's funny is I'm part of it's called the South Jersey Cannabis Network, and half of our meetings are in Hamilton, right at Vinyl. We meet once a month. Everybody, they come, guys from Bluegrass down in, or Highgrass down in Buna. They have a beautiful facility down there, and they come up and they host people from all over the place in South Jersey that have some type of cannabis relationship, and you'd be surprised how many people are there. That's
cool. Snouts and stouts now.
Yeah. But it's weird because we're talking about taxes. I don't know if you saw last week's, some of the articles last week. Evesham Township, 25% tax increase.
Really?
The school board passed it last Wednesday night.
The school board?
Well, the school board approved the tax increase.
How could the school board have anything to do with
that? That was their request, and it did get passed. So their taxes in Evesham are going up 25%.
That sounds unreasonable. Over what, like overnight, or like over the course of 4 years, or?
I didn't see how long, what the progression is or the schedule is, but it's 24.5% tax increase.
Man, I wonder why. Why?
Rising cost of everything. And I don't know how many schools are in Evesham.
Is that a common thread among municipalities in New Jersey right now?
Well, if you're going to see a lot of these teachers that are going to start, I know Collingswood's up right now. They're having a big fight with their teacher unions, and they're not in a contract. So who knows what's going to happen? But the bottom line is they're not offering any relief to any of their residents. Like, you can't just keep raising taxes. Eventually, it's got to stop somewhere. And if you haven't tried all these arms that the state's given you, why are you going to keep going back to your poor residents who can't afford it? At least say we tried and it failed. Don't say no right out of the gate.
Yeah. Have you tried with Sweetwater at all?
No.
So that's a community that's like starting to get a little more traction. Like a lot of people are kind of looking at Sweetwater. They have a good school district. I think those kids go to Cedar Creek.
Right.
Ton of land out there, like a ton of land out there, and they don't even have trash removal. because they don't. I mean, I guess the taxes are low, but they don't even have. They don't even offer a trash removal. They don't have cops.
That's like Tabernacle. We don't have.
Yeah,
we don't have leaf pickup.
It seems like
we have state police.
Yeah, it seems like bringing in a grow facility or a dispensary would be like a slam dunk for a municipality like that.
I would just like to find one farmer who says, you know what, I want to try it this year, or I want to try a pilot program over the next 4 years. Instead of breaking my back and harvesting blueberries once every year, I can harvest cannabis 4 times a year.
Well, how big of is there restrictions on the size of the land you're allowed to grow on? Or
well, you can't do any outdoor. Like it has to be covered. But you do need extensive power, which becomes an issue because bringing it in is very expensive.
Well, if you got land, you can put solar panels.
If you're already doing blueberries and you already got the refrigeration units and you already got, the infrastructure in place, why not give it a shot?
Yeah, but they don't have greenhouses for blueberries.
Well, if they have an indoor industrial facility for packing and all that,
that's a big enough spot to grow.
Well, yeah, you could do grow.
I imagine that these farmers would want to just line their fields with greenhouses, like half of it, and then the other half be a solar field to power it.
Right.
And then there you go.
Hemp is an agriculturally approved product. You're allowed to grow it.
Okay.
And you can sell that, the Delta 8, Delta 9 products that you see in every refrigerator in South Jersey and the convenience stores. So it's obviously somebody's making money off it. So why not give these guys who are struggling a chance, For the town, the bureaucrats just to say, no, we don't want it, and not give any justifiable reason, it just seems kind of unfair, especially if your residents have already voted on it.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Chinese buying up the land. I mean, I know Chinese purchased the once largest blueberry farm in the whole world, right out of Hamilton, and so.
Now they're still operating as blueberries?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I mean, that can happen regardless,
right.
But a lot of these farmers, what ends up happening is these farmers, they'll get a price they can't refuse for their farm and their land. And then they have this non-compete. So they can't grow blueberries for the next 15 years, whatever it is. So they're done farming blueberries. But a lot of them, they look into like blackberries or this or that. So a lot of that would be a really good focus point for your group is farmers that are selling their farm,
right?
Because they're not. They don't really want to be done farming. They just take the money and cash out,
right?
But those are the guys that they know what's going on. They know exactly what they need, and they're not done yet. Like they still want to kind of go a little bit, and that it doesn't interfere with their non-compete,
right?
Yeah. My 2 cents.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, but
yeah.
I mean, if the town's not allowing it, that's where it kind of hits a dead end.
Yeah. So, does it interfere with being an operator at all?
No, because I was laid off the whole winter.
Yeah.
Kind of took some time off, and then when this job opened up, I wanted to jump back into it. So, no, we're able to time management. A lot of our networking guys, like I said, are in a different time zone. So I usually don't talk to them till the end of the day anyway. 4 or 5 o'clock California time is 7, 8 o'clock our time. So it works out well. But once we get into the construction phase and into the manufacturing or the processing phase, I might have to take a look at what I want to do as far as time management. Yeah.
So what's so all right? You broker these deals. Where does how does your business fit into that?
So, like I said, when it comes to structuring the formation of the business, and we kind of secure our position by getting that letter of support through the municipality, because you can't sell them legally, you can't sell them. So we kind of barter our way in for equity percent of the business. So depending on how much meat's left on the bone after the landlord gets his, if he wants equity, how much the investor might want for structuring the deal, and what, of course, the grower, who's the heart and soul of the operation, what they want out of it. Then we'll kind of look at ours and say, okay, if we're under 5%, like 4.99, we can be considered a passive investor with the state of New Jersey, so we don't even have to be listed on the license. But if it's a big enough piece of the pie and they're offering, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in the area of that, 10, then of course we're going to say, yeah, we want to be on the license. So some of them are, you know, a little bit different as far as the structuring goes.
And are you growing your business, or are you kind of happy with your piece of the pie?
No, we're looking, you know, anywhere we can, you know, jump in and go take a look. And somebody's.
I mean, like investors, are you taking on more investors?
No, it depends. Actually, it depends on which operation it is,
How much money you have,
and if it's how funded it is, right? So we did network with a few guys that are who are looking for a bigger piece of the pie, but again, they're going to want the lion's share. So we're just trying to put it together, and the key is just to get into the door, just start growing and generating revenue.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to put up a gigantic warehouse. You don't have to be the biggest and best in the business out of the gates, but if you look at the sustainability from the meetings I go to the South Jersey Chamber of Commerce meeting, I go to the Cannabis meetings. The original sustainability was originally thought to be between 8 and 10 years. Well, the first 2 years were really slow coming out of the gate. Guys getting approvals, guys getting funding. Now the sustainability is anywhere between 12 and 14 years. They're figuring that it's going to be really good before it gets saturated and before they start driving the prices down. So Oregon, guys in California, you know, those type areas are seeing what New Jersey's getting as far as their pricing goes, and they're flocking to come here. One, they already know how to grow. Two, they know what it takes to get up and running. And three, guys like us are looking for them, looking for, you know, multi-state operators.
And it's a whole new ballgame too if the federal government comes in and says, "Hey, it's legal now," because then you're not going to have to worry about saturation.
Correct, but you're going to have to worry about big pharma.
True.
But my selling point to New Jersey is we have the best blueberries, we got the best tomatoes, we got the best corn. Let's give them the best pot, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Garden State, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting ride. We're not done. We're we're just getting started. As the word gets out and people see that we're able to, you know, we have a little bit of a resume behind us, you know, maybe we'll up our share on when it comes to the equity side of things. So.
Yeah, that's great. Like that's all. You see a lot of guys with their side hustle, you know, like you see me doing this. Like, right. It's not. Right. Yeah, I mean that's just an awesome thing to be doing, and a good thing to like focus your energy on.
And the way it started, I mean, we totally had to pivot from our first year of what we wanted to do, what we planned on doing. You know, putting up grow houses on a farm that I was living on, and you know, working that way. But it was kind of a blessing it didn't work out, because I was able to pivot and say, you know what, now let's just help everybody get up and running and take a piece of the pie from everybody. Yeah. Rather than sit on one, let's help everybody.
Do you have any competition? Is there anyone else doing what you're doing?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, there's you know, business brokers. I'm sure they've navigated into the cannabis industry.
Like in California? Do they have?
Everybody wants to leave California. The price per pound is like out of the toilet right now. It's like $400, $500 a pound.
Is that? Really?
It's horrible. Yeah, they've regulated it to death in California.
That's because the state's taking it?
Yeah, the state regulated in the first 20 years.
It's costing the customer $500 a pound.
No.
That's what you're making.
That's what you're able to sell it for in the market, because it's been suppressed so bad.
Well, you see that with almost all businesses, right? Like I feel like every step above the business figures out how to squeeze as much juice out of the lemon as they can.
Right.
You see it with trucking. Like I had a little trucking business for 3 years, and man, like even as a subcontractor, the big company knew exactly what they could pay me, that would pay for the day and
Mm-hmm.
put almost nothing in my pocket. The insurance companies knew exactly what to charge you, to where if you had to keep them trucks on the road 5 days
Right.
a week, 10 hours a day, sometimes Saturdays, sometimes nights.
Right.
Like they squeeze you and they make you work so much harder to get where you got to be.
Right.
And it makes sense that it's happening now with the and New Jersey's never too far behind California.
Right.
By the way, are they seeing that in like Colorado, which seemed to be like the second state that kind of?
Well, what's really getting squeezed now is Oklahoma. A couple of the guys that we have that are coming in, that the reason they're leaving Oklahoma is because they're getting squeezed so bad. Like, we're going to make the same product in Jersey, and we're going to, sell it for 3 times the amount we're allowed to sell it here in Oklahoma. Let's go back east.
So they put a restriction on the amount you can sell it for?
No, they're squeezing you so hard with taxes
Yeah,
and additional tax, maintenance of road tax, like so many different ways to go around squeezing you that you're seeing your price, go out at the bottom, drop out of it.
So let's follow that thread. So say that happens in New Jersey, which it will. What can these businesses do to adjust?
Well, as of right now, the way things stand in Jersey, the last I read, they're 280,000 pounds short of expectations. There's 171 dispensaries up and running, and I believe there's only like 41 cultivators with licenses, and I think only half of them are up and running. So supply and demand is big right now. So
that explains why New Jersey would penalize municipalities for not allowing it.
But why wouldn't they give the cultivator a year head start before they allow the dispensaries to open? Like, now you have all these dispensaries saying, "Hell, man, I need your product. I need your product. Matter of fact, I'm going to pay for it before you even put it in the pots." Well, what if it fails? What if you have a mold or a spider mite or some type of fungus or something, and you lose the product? Now the ripple effect. If you had 10, 20 cultivators growing for 6 months to a year before you allowed your first 20 dispensaries to hit the market, you'd be in a much better position.
How are these guys doing it? Like the first of the Mohicans. Like, how were they even?
The big guys were still open. Terracen, Cure Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
They were still making a ton of money.
What's the turnaround time from the time you plant a seed to the time you can sell it?
That's the crazy part. That's the science, and that's why these guys are fabulous at what they do. Just from talking to them, I haven't seen an operation from start to finish yet, from seed to product. But some guys are saying I can have a product in 7 weeks. Some guys are saying I can have a product in 9 weeks.
From a seed?
But it again depends on what type of facility you have. Like, do you have an indoor facility with all man-made environmental controls where you can control the humidity, you can control, the light deprivation, you can control what the plant's getting as far as nutrients. It is a science, and that's why these guys should be commended on what they do. It's crazy.
Wow.
We went to a facility up in Massachusetts with Meramed, and they had like 32,000 square feet of industrial building. 20,000 was cultivation. The veg room, the mom rooms, the drying. Each room had its own operation. Then they had a 7,000 square foot kitchen where they did saltwater taffies, ice cream, you name it, gummies, and they had their own dispensary. So that's called vertically integrated. They have the grow, manufacturing, and the retail.
Is that allowed in New Jersey?
Yeah.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you weren't allowed to. I thought you weren't allowed to do that in New Jersey. I thought it had to be like totally independent.
No, you can be vertically integrated in Jersey.
And you can you can drive it from farm to.
Well, yeah, you can transport your own product.
I heard you couldn't for some reason. So that should help a little bit with that stranglehold that New Jersey is eventually going to put on these businesses. Right. Is okay.
But again, that's one of the ways they could do it. Well, you can't transport your product. Now you got to pay somebody to deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, they do offer delivery license or transport licenses, which is just another. When
I was doing the truck and I was looking into it, and it was like,
But you got to figure, if you're selling in, say Hamilton allows a dispensary to open up, chances are you're going to know one of your guys that's growing it in Hamilton, so they don't really have to transport it that far. So if you're able to network your dispensary with your cultivator, now you know where you're getting your product.
Yeah, it just seems like that's the way to combat that. The hiking tax, the hiking, this is our piece now, and keep it so that you can still profit what you want. And doesn't it make sense for the municipalities to fight for their businesses to keep more money?
Well, yeah, you would think. 2% of revenue.
So how are these states going against all these municipalities and just saying, well, fuck
I don't know. I don't know the regulations in Oklahoma and Oregon and California. I don't know that each town gets 2% direct revenue.
Oh, okay.
But, they got to be screaming like, hey, wait, we just cut through all this red tape to get it, and now year 6, you're telling us we're not getting 2%.
And where's it going? Like, how are they justifying it? I wonder. Like, are they saying like, oh, well, look how much better this is getting. Look how much. I mean, like, look at California is ridiculous. I mean, they stopped. Look at these wildfires. I mean, for example, right? They stopped the desalinization machinery from going into the ocean so that they can supply Southern California with enough water to put these fires out. Right. The Environmental Protection Agency just put it. No way. You guys aren't doing that. Okay.
They stopped burning underbrush.
Yeah.
Because of
they wanted to run two
climate
pipes.
Control.
Yeah. They wanted to run 2 pipes from North California to Southern California
to fill the reservoirs.
Yeah, and they said no. You guys can't do it. Right. No, we can't have water here.
We don't want to burn the underbrush because it's going to create smoke that causes climate change.
Yeah.
But yet, when we have a massive fire, it's going to burn for 3 weeks, and we're going to let off more smoke than we could ever do with an underbrush.
Yeah. They have a supermajority.
Yeah, they should be their own country.
Yeah, they're supermajority Democrats. I mean, the unions are begging for Republicans to be in office because they can't. There's no balance.
Right.
And a lot of these organizations, like the Environmental Protection Agency, that's stopping all this stuff from happening, they're like independent organizations. They're not even state-run organizations. This is just a bunch of like rich people from California saying, no, we don't want this. We don't care if our house is burned down. We'll just build a new one. Right. And then in the meantime, you're just pushing all the little guys out. Like how you gonna, if me or you had a house in Southern California that got burnt down, like how the hell are we gonna build a house in Southern California?
Right. Because your insurance isn't covered.
Oh, you're screwed. And then you got the rich, again coming in saying, hey,
we're gonna buy your lot.
Yeah,
they did in Hawaii.
Yep. And then you're like, okay. And then you just rent it. And and you're like, oh, well,
the
I'm
rich
screwed
win.
again. Yeah,
the rich
exactly.
win.
Exactly.
Right.
And now they're going to put the pipes in to stop the houses from burning down.
Got rid of the riffraff.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. So California, I mean, they're like, I hope we don't follow in their footsteps.
Well, we're in an election year in Jersey, so anything can happen.
Yeah. I think we have pretty good candidates, though. I'd be pretty happy with almost any of them.
You know what's weird is when we talk to different growers and they come and they're like, wait a minute, is like up near New York, like Hoboken, is that New Jersey? Because it doesn't seem like where you're from. I'm like that. Well, see, exit 9 is the break point.
Yeah.
We're South Jersey and they're North
We should
Jersey.
be our own state.
Well, yeah, we should.
But I'd be happy. I mean, who is your union supporting?
Our union's kind of weird. I mean, we have one of our BAs is a Republican senator for state of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And some are still, old school Democrats. So I think we're probably split.
They didn't endorse anyone yet?
I don't think they have, no. For the governor?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we're
probably Sweeney.
We're endorsing Mikey Sherrill, which I think they found her like a long time ago, and they've just been endorsing her ever since, and they just like finding people at their infancy and just growing with them, because then they really get us, then they can really kind of have their way. But I think
I don't think they'll make a full endorsement until the primaries are done.
I mean, even if like Chitterelli got in, I feel like it wouldn't hurt the unions at all.
No. I mean, everybody said when Trump got in the first time that the unions were done, but
he had to watch his back the first time. Now he's like a fucking wild man now, yeah.
Right.
I mean, the union guys came out in droves voting for him.
They did.
And he screwed us all so far. I mean, he's trying to. It looks like it. That's what it's trending towards. I'm not saying that yet. Right. I'm not worried about it yet, but it looks like he's like, the things he's doing is just, it's making it difficult for our leadership to maneuver at all, which isn't good, but that's why it's important to vote for the right governor, and then we kind of just can, as long as New Jersey's okay, we're kind of okay. And then we just wait it out for a couple of years, Yeah.
Well, like I was telling you before the show started, like some of these contractors that are coming out of New York, out of the Bronx, out of Yonkers, saying there's no more, they don't use union laborers, or the union shops no more. They just go to pay these guys prevailing wage.
Why?
I don't know.
What is going on in New York, man? What that's insane. I was at a Rise class, which is, Launa puts it on. It's kind of just like it's a leadership class for union members, and they were talking there about how like New York is just like they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, they're like, what are they? They're supposed to be like the hub. Like that's
Right.
like the Union State,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's turned into like
Well,
New Jersey
you saw
is
it when
now.
Trump was there campaigning. The union guys were screaming for him. Like,
Yeah.
they were
Well,
supporting
Local
him.
79. I mean, they don't shut up about them.
Right.
It's like
Right.
what?
Right.
I don't, look, you could like what he's doing, but still acknowledge like like he's doing things to hurt the unions.
right.
You know, I not to say like, look, if America turns out better in 4 years, fine, great,
Right.
that's fine. I don't think we had much of an option.
But on the other flip side of that, I say, well, what did Biden do to help the unions? On day one, he shut down the pipeline. 17,000 workers.
He did. He just let the unions do whatever they wanted.
Right.
I mean, the NLRB was just loaded with like labor friendly people. He made it so easy for the leadership to maneuver, to grow. Like I was told by the vice president of LIUNA that Biden did more for the unions than any other president in the history. Which, you know, I mean, you can't really tell what he was doing.
Well, then that should mean we
Yeah.
should have work for the next 6-7 years, right?
What we were supposed to. We did. They just pulled $300 million in funding for infrastructure, which we were supposed to have. We were supposed to do a ton of maintenance to all the bridges in New Jersey. That got pulled. We're supposed to replace all the lead water pipes.
Well,
that
I
got
think
pulled.
what you're going to see is they're going to go through the books. They're going to try to see where all the waste is going and eliminate that. And then they're going to say, okay, here's what we're going to allocate. Here's what you can do.
I agree.
We don't need to pay for transgender studies in Thailand for $50 million. Let's
Right.
put the money back into the United States. They know our infrastructure is horrible. They know the bridges are falling. They know the roads are horrible. I mean, look what Shapiro did with 95 on the night of that fire. He had it back up in 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that was a major plug for the.
That's kind of my mindset too. Is like it just seems like he's stopping everything so
Let's
he
get
could get a
rid of
good picture of what's going on.
Stop the nonsense
And then kinda-
go
yeah.
back and go.
So
okay,
that's why I'm like, I'm not worried
right.
yet. You know, it looks like it's trending bad, but it's really just because he's like just stopping everything.
Right.
You know, but
I
hope
wish
for
they
the
would
best.
send to do an audit on the New Jersey lottery. You ever wonder where half this money goes?
Well, did you see the documentary on that? The Mafia?
Really?
Oh, dude, they were in with the people making the scratch offs. It was the McDonald's.
Really?
The McDonald's Monopoly game is what it was.
Did you get jealous when you heard this story?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I mean, like, come on. But the major one of the major crime families was they had the guy making the Monopoly tickets that go on the McDonald's thing. And there's a person, like they make them, and then a person brings all of them in like this suitcase or whatever, and he brings them here and they get distributed. But they figured out exactly where they were going. And then what they would do is they would take you,
Right.
and here's $1 million ticket. They're like, if you buy this fucking Coca-Cola, you'll get $1 million.
But we're getting
We're
three
gonna-
quarters of it.
No, we'll split it with you, right? So the person's like, fine, great. And they're like, we need our money up front. So the people would take a home equity loan out of their house, give them $500,000 untaxed,
Right.
and then they get banged from New Jersey for like $600,000. They're out $100,000. And they were doing this like all
Genius.
over the country.
Genius.
Yeah.
Right.
Before they figured it out. Yeah, it was like, it is just brilliant.
Right.
And what are you going to do? Say no?
Right. I don't want that.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because to these people, it just seemed like, oh yeah, like well, I'm in. This is it. I finally did it. You know, like I'm retired. Screw this. Taking all their.
Wait a minute. That home equity's costing me how much?
Yeah. Then they get the $1 million. They're so happy,
Right.
and then New Jersey's like, oh hey,
Right. By the way.
you know,
Pony
cough
up.
it up, bubba. They're like, whoa. I just gave that to that guy over there. You know,
The guy in that Cadillac just took care of it.
yeah. See you, buddy. Yeah,
But thank you for coming to the Car Bomb Classic this year.
oh,
What do you
dude, that
think?
was awesome, man. I was saying on one of these, when I hear bagpipes,
Right.
I hear the same song every time.
Really?
I can't tell the difference between a golf outing bagpipe and a funeral bagpipe. I can't. It sounds like the same song every single time I hear it. But yeah, it was great, man. Did you do last year's also?
We did. We've been doing it for got to be 25
Great time,
years.
man. Last
It
year at
started out with-
Pinelands was awesome.
It started out with me and my dad, my uncle, and a couple of my brothers on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And then it grew, and then it grew, and then it grew, and now
Yeah.
it's like, it sells out.
So fun. So fun. Yeah, that's such a good time, man.
And all week it was like sunny and 70, sunny and 70. Woke
Yeah.
up, it was like rainy and 51. I'm like, these Italians are going to get some taste of Ireland weather.
Jello shots, man. They fix a lot of problems. Yeah. Yeah. Nicky was fucking handing them out like hotcakes. Like, all right, yeah.
Well, that's cool now. Like the next generation sees like, all right, man, we got to keep this up. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was a good time.
What does that go towards?
We don't make a penny off it. We charge.
It's just for fun?
Just for fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was cool. The bagpipe guy, and then the food afterwards was really good. Yeah, that was cool. That's a great spot too. We paved that road right in front of that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it looks like a hole in the wall. So these people are. That's a nice golf course.
Yeah.
And these people are coming in. They're like hot. I'm like, man, come on, like just go to fucking Frog Rock. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? I got a tea time at 8:00. I'm like, dude, what are they?
Right.
Fucking shoveling. Like, shut up, dude. You know. And but yeah, man, I can't believe that's an awesome course.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
It was a good time.
Yeah. What are the plans for next year?
Well, we have a couple guys who are in my ear all the time about taking the show on the road and maybe going to Ballybunion over in Ireland. One of my buddies, Barefoot Brennan, wants to get a hold of John Daly and have him come down and be the honorary starter. But we'll see what happens.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
But it was funny. I think I had more Italians from Hamilton there than I did Irish guys.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know a good time when you see one.
Oh yeah, come on, can't keep us out. Did you golf in them?
Yeah, I played.
Do you play? What's your like? Do you have a handicap or are you
No,
a million?
established handicap.
Yeah.
Before my son was in travel baseball, I used to play 3 times a week. And then when he started travel baseball, I think I played 3 times total.
Wow,
But now he's graduated. Now he's playing with me. So we're back into it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at Renault. It's like my kryptonite.
Really?
I can't, dude. I lost 2 clubs in the trees in Renault. I have no idea where they are.
So you're saying you have a bit of anger issues going on?
Italian, drinking. Come on, like, what do you think? Well, dude, that's like 16 holes, and you're just shanking them. You're like, fuck. It's a club's fault. It's got to be. You know? Yeah.
It's what we were watching the Masters on Sunday when Rory missed that 4-footer for the championship.
Oh.
I'm like, see, that's the exact point where that putter should just go flying into
Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah. Happy Gilmore 2's coming out soon. Can't wait to see that. Yeah. No, that is a really good time. What other stuff are you into? Not that you are showing me that you have much time for anything else. But.
Yeah. Just work, family, play golf.
How long you been an operator?
2015, I got in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you do before that? Oh, you were a cop.
Law enforcement. Yeah.
What? How long were you in law enforcement?
15 years. I went out on a disability. The same year I got approved, I got in 825.
That's good.
Yeah.
How did you know how to operate?
I always grew up in the construction industry, but I actually went in as a 42-year-old apprentice.
Did you?
Yeah. And then the first year up there, winter classes, I saw everybody fighting over dozers and backhoes. And I'm like, you know what? I went to the oldest guy in the training center. And I said, Rod, what's the one piece of equipment nobody wants to run? He goes, get on that drill rig. You'll never be out of work.
No kidding.
And I spent the whole winter up there. It was freezing. It was one of the coldest winters we ever had. I spent the whole winter learning it. And my very first job was the remediation behind the Wawa on 54 in Hamilton.
Oh, wow. That the site work over there? Oh, that's cool. They had the sprinklers?
Yeah, they were the misters. Remember I was saying with pot where you can put the misters up to suppress the smell? But yeah, that was my very first job.
What's the biggest drill you've operated?
Bauer BG39. It's 103 feet.
Long?
The mast.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, explain this. What do you mean, the mast?
So the mast on the machine from ground to top is 103 feet. So we can drill anywhere. We can drill up to like 80, 90 feet.
Oh, okay.
Tops. But you need room for the head. You need room for the tooling.
We had an operator not long ago on one of our jobs. He was a crane operator, and he ran a drill, but it was a directional drill.
Right.
And he would run this. He said they were like, I want to say 5 feet in diameter. Like,
yeah, mine's 10.
That's insane.
Yeah. Can do some damage if you hit something.
How do they excavate what it's like? How does it displace the ground?
Well, right now we're doing soil mixing because it's considered a hazardous work site. So imagine the cost if somebody came to you and says, "Yo, you have 4 million cubic tons of hazardous waste you gotta get rid of, and then replace it." This method, we mix the contaminants in a 10-foot diameter column, and then we solidify it with grout. So in theory, that contamination never moves again. So in the next column is a 1-foot overlay.
So you're just containing it.
Just containing the contamination.
And
so rather than get rid of it, now you're just containing it. Kind of like what we did in Hamilton. That whole site was contained.
You dig down though, right?
Yeah, we just drill straight down. There's hardly any spoil.
What's it usually for?
You mean the contaminants?
No, like when you're drilling, what are you drilling? Like this is what you're doing?
Just displacing the soil and replacing it and solidifying it.
So where's the soil go when you're drilling?
Mixing it. It's like a big milkshake when we're done.
So how do you pull the drill bit out?
Well,
I mean, like when you pull it out.
We drill with air and grout the whole way down.
Okay.
And then I got to stroke it 3 times. And then by the time I get done, it looks like a giant milkshake. And then it hardens up in 24 hours.
Oh, so it's hollow.
No, it's solid concrete.
No, what you're going like you're.
When I'm
your
going
drill
in,
bit.
I'm drilling in virgin earth.
But you're using like your bit is hollow. Like you're only like what's your bit look like?
It looks like an angry monster. It's 10 feet long. It's got twin tiger teeth on every 6 inches.
Okay.
And it just demolishes anything in its way. So I'm basically just grinding that earth.
And you go down 90 feet?
Well, some we go 80, some we go 60. Today we.
And when you pull that thing out,
you can't just yank it. You got to come back out. And as you're coming back out, you're mixing.
Okay.
And then you got to, like I said, you stroke it 3 times to get everything mixed up and leave it.
And what do? You just got to go like side by side holes the whole way until the whole
Some
contaminated area?
jobs are you're only allowed to do primaries, which means you can't do side by side until the following day. So I can't come back and overlay that column until it hardens up.
Okay.
So depending on how big the job is.
So if you have a contaminated area, do you have to cover the entire area with this, or you can't box it in?
No.
That will consider
some you do
a containment?
Containment walls, but depending on what the contaminant is and what the client wants.
What's it typically? Like what kind of contaminants are there?
Well, we're in a refinery, so it could be anything from years. I mean, years ago, people used to dump the oil in the backyard.
Yeah. So. Does it? I mean, are you getting are you breathing all that in? Or?
We got to be physical in, physical out. Some jobs are different. Some jobs have contaminants that you need level 3 respirators. Some jobs you just don't walk in it.
Wow. So weren't you on one of our job sites not last year, a couple of years ago?
Which one?
The contractor I work for.
Yeah, at the end of last year, I was like a 2-day fill-in.
Yeah, I thought so. What were you running there?
We were just doing curb pulls with a backhoe.
Oh, so you're still ripping them back. Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, I hate it, but
do you?
Yeah, I hate it.
Why?
After you get involved in this side of the industry, it's like,
yeah.
Man, you get 10-hour days. You 50 hours a week, and you could go on a job where you could be there for 2 years.
Do you have to travel pretty far?
During COVID, I went to Charleston. Went down there and set up a drill rig.
No kidding.
Yeah, Jersey was dead.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, we were ripping in Jersey. Yeah. It was weird, too, during COVID. There was we would have lane shutdowns and there was no traffic allowed on the road. And I'm like, what the fuck? We were on Route 18 in wherever township that is up north from here. And I set up a lane closure, like a 2-mile closure probably. So you couldn't even see the taper from where you were because you were still using making sure that it was the distant, the cars could see it coming. Right. So it was like a bendy road. I had to go all the way back, even though there was no cars allowed on the road. And it was windy as fuck. It was so windy. So I put the barricades up. I put the arrow board up, dude. We picked this thing up at the end of the day. We didn't see a car all day. I picked this thing up at the end of the day. I mean, it was all over the road.
Right.
The arrow board was I was like, what the hell happened here?
But you asked the other day about some of the funny stories or dumb stories.
Yeah. Dumb thing of the week. Yeah, come on.
What was more dumb than during COVID?
Nothing.
Oh, my God.
It was the dumbest thing ever.
We're on this job in Camden, a remediation job at a PSE&G site. And when you work for PSE&G, they are 100% safety conscious. Yep. So it was during COVID. It was an independent safety guy. He didn't belong to the company. He was hired by PSE&G. I'm in a rig by myself for 9 hours a day. He felt it necessary to come over to my machine every hour and take my temperature. So
every
I'd
hour.
open the door, stop what I'm doing, rub the thing across my heart, give it back to him. So this guy got on our nerves so bad. Wearing a mask, wearing a safety glass, wearing a hard hat. So as we're moving the rig, we was like, you know what? Let's space these mats out a little bit further, 1 foot, 2 foot. So we moved the machine up. We spaced the mats out. Now they're crane mats are 1 foot high, right? So he's come. I see him coming, right? And I look in the rearview mirror, and he's got the mask on up to here, and the safety glasses and his hard hat, and he doesn't see the spacing in the mats. Oh. He goes down. His face smashes the tracks on my machine, and his teeth are sticking through his mask like this, right? And I yelled down, like, John! He was like, what? I said, good thing you had that mask on. I said, you still on my temperature? He's like, ah, fuck you.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was dumb, man.
5 times a day, take my temperature. I'm sitting there by myself. I was like, next time he comes in, I'm going to come over.
Did anyone wear their mask? I mean, like, for real? It was like this. That's how everyone wore it. And then you saw the safety guy coming, and it was, you know, and you were like, oh.
When it first came out, with this, I got the funniest story. So I used to train Saturday mornings and then go to Home Depot, right? So when you go in Berlin, Home Depot, there's this little old guy. He's in a wheelchair. He's in a scooter. He's an Army vet. I always show him respect. Well, during COVID, it went out the window, right? So I'm walking in, and he's like, you need a mask. You need a mask. I'm like, I don't even start today, right? So I remembered exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for a GFI for my house. And I'm in the electrical aisle. Now it's like 7:15 in the morning. And these 2 goons from Home Depot come up behind me. They're like, sir, you need a mask on. Or no, you need to leave Home Depot. I was like, what? They're like, you need to leave Home Depot. So I turn around and I go, it's because I'm gay, ain't it? And they're like, what? I said, Home Depot hates gay guys. I'm yelling, Home Depot hates gay guys. Dude, these 2 guys took off running so fast.
You got your GFI?
I got my GFI. I come walk back, and the guy in the wheelchair is like looking at me like, how'd he pull that off, right?
You.
So the following week I'm going in, and there he's sitting in the same spot, and another employee standing behind him, and he goes, the guy behind him goes, sir, you need a mask on. The guy in front's like, leave him alone. Leave him go. Just leave him go.
Did you eventually wear your mask like everyone else?
I don't think I ever wore a mask.
Oh, man.
I mean, at the safety meetings in the morning just to show we're compliant, but it turned out it was all a joke anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't mean anything.
I was wearing, like, when I first started wearing masks, I was wearing, like, I had those skull masks.
Right.
And, like, everyone else was, like, wearing just, you know, like,
well,
normal,
maybe then it had to be an I-95 or it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then you had to wear 2 masks.
Yeah. Dude, I felt like a bank robber. You know? I'd be, like, walking around with a fucking skull. Like, I lined it up perfect.
I never thought I'd see the day you'd have to wear a mask to get into a bank.
Oh, it's crazy.
Think how weird times were, man. And remember the aisles in the aisle? You had to walk this way.
Yeah.
Because you won't get COVID walking that way.
One way.
People were like, oh, okay, whatever they tell me.
Well, you know what the hardest part was the bags that you put, like, the produce in? Because usually you're just like, you know. But if anyone saw you do that, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Dude, I would just sneak them under. Like, you know what I mean? I know people were
I'm
like,
surprised you were allowed to touch your own produce at that point.
oh, I know. Well, there was dew on it, too. Like, you know how they, like, spread it? So, like, people would touch the produce and then do the bag. I'm like, that's even worse.
Right.
Come on. That was so.
And then the whole plastic bag thing. I'm like, what has come of this world? Seriously.
The plastic bag thing is horrible.
It's crazy.
I still forget the bags every time.
You'd come out of the store.
You know how many bags I own?
There'd be no plastic bags.
Yeah.
But there's masks all over the parking lot.
Yeah.
Woo, we're really saving the environment.
They said we are using more plastic with these bags than with the plastic bags. Like, it totally didn't work.
Well, you'll appreciate this now that your kids in travel baseball. Wait do you see, or in baseball, wait do you see at the end of the weekend. Go buy those trash cans. They're overflowing with Gatorade bottles.
Yeah.
But we can't have a plastic bag to put them in.
It's crazy. And no one remembers them is the thing. Like, you leave them at home, you leave them in the car, then you just buy more, you throw them out. Like, there's nowhere to put your dog shit anymore. You're just like, what the hell's happening? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to bring the plastic back. I buy them on Amazon.
Won't get caught.
You can have them. They just can't provide them.
Right. There's some stores that are like, you know what? We don't care anymore.
Yeah. I like the stores that they get, like, the the woven bags, and they're just like, here, just,
Or remember when the bars first opened? You couldn't sit at the bar this way, but you could sit at the bar this way.
No, I don't.
You put a table in front of the bar. You could face this person, but you can't face the bartender. Like, my God, man, what are we doing?
Oh my God. Well, they still have the plastic thing. A lot of places still have those
plastic plexiglass. The guy's touching your food, but as long as he's not breathing.
Yeah. And at Walmart,
meanwhile, he's wiping his nose, touching all your shit.
At Walmart, they were like the hub of like safety for everything. But you're walking out and some scuzzball's like, "Can I check your receipt?" Get the fuck out of here, bro. You fucking touch my shit.
And they look at it for 2 seconds like, okay.
Then they're rifling through your shit. I'm like, what is happening? Right. Why do I have to wear this mask?
What planet
are we doing?
Right.
Yeah. Are you going to watch this now? It was, I mean, they scared everyone for a while, but then eventually it was like, all right, like,
I don't know.
Come on.
Do you still see people driving around in their cars?
Oh, yeah, I saw it the other day. Wawa.
By themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what are you afraid of?
That.
My God.
I don't get that at all.
No, it's because the TV told them to. I have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Wear two.
People wear. The nurses, my wife's a nurse. They had to wear 2 masks and a face shield. Then, the whole day they couldn't even be seen without it. And the gloves, like.
And where did all that shit get disposed of at? All those gloves. Every time they saw a different person, they take the gloves out. Where does all that go?
Oh wow, that's why we
can't. But we can't have plastic
bags
in ShopRite.
That's why we can't. They had to make room for all the gloves going in the trash. I guess. Yeah, and it's weird too because it got to a point like with the nurses, especially like even very early on, they didn't even want to hear about it if you're sick.
Right.
So like just come, like if you're not, just come in.
Right.
If you're okay with it, we're okay with it. Basically.
What's that tell you?
It was like it was just nothing made sense.
Bizarro world, man. Right.
Get this vaccine. Did you get the vaccine?
No.
I got it.
None of them.
I didn't care. It didn't scare me.
The only shots I do are Jameson.
We got some lag.
But even during when they tried to bring back baseball, right? You couldn't have the umpire stand behind the catcher because he was too close.
Too close.
And then the kid gets on first base and he can't lead because you don't want the first baseman holding the first.
That's what they were doing with the minor. With
like,
the little.
Come on, man. Can we stop? And remember, the pitcher would lick his hands. No, you can't do that. You can't touch the baseball. I'm like, oh my God, man. Please tell me this is over.
Oh, God, that was such a weird time. Man.
It was so bizarre.
It was bizarre. It was bizarre. What else, man? You got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you gotta get into Hamilton.
Make it happen. Put the pressure on.
I will. I'll try. I will use.
The next town over, they got some really good operations going.
Which one?
Bruce Roots.
Which town?
Right in Winslow, but the mailing address is Hamilton.
Yeah, Penny Pot's got one.
Yeah, they're doing really
What's
good.
What's that called? Hello High?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello High.
Yeah, they deliver it.
And then there's another one down on 322, the old, what's the name of that strip joint there? Volcanic Eruptions?
Volcanic Eruptions. Yeah. That was a total
going
triangle.
to be one. Yeah, it was going to be one.
It's not?
I don't know if they're open yet or not, but.
They put it out back there, I thought.
But I mean, if everyone, I guess their theory is, well, if you're not going to buy pot in Hamilton, you're going to go to, Winslow or somewhere else.
Yeah.
But give them the revenue. We don't want it.
Yeah, we don't want it.
We don't want it.
But hop on before it's too late.
Right. Before
New Jersey comes. Well, that's what they did. Even the EVs, right? Even the electric vehicles. They're like, everyone buy an electric vehicle. Here's $5,000 on your tax return if you buy one. And now they're charging you $5,000 more for your registration.
Now they're burning them because they don't like Elon.
California, they're charging you by the mile on the road.
Right. And the crackheads are stealing the copper from the charging stations.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Boy, that was a great idea.
Oh, man.
Or how about the school buses? What'd they spend on that? Like $300 million to get electric school buses? I don't think they've used one yet. Yeah, we got a school bus full of 50 kids. The bus is out of juice. Shit. What are we going to do now? Send one of them gas ones out.
They got the diesels, too, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, them Bluebirds, right? Bluebirds, is that what?
We were on one of the jobs. I don't want to say which one because it's very political. But it was for building clean energy, right? And, we know what's coming in. So if we're building clean energy, we got thousands and thousands of guys working here. We got tons of equipment every day. I saw the bill from the fuel company one day. We were spending $70,000 a day in diesel fuel to build clean energy. I'm like, wait a minute. How long are these things going to have to spin?
Oh my God, forever.
Like,
those things are huge.
Year later, not a person on the job shut down.
Nah. We ran 5 miles of conduit pipe on Route 9 for
coming off the turbines.
Yeah, and it had been they already canceled plans to do it, and we still ran the conduit.
The money was still allocated.
There's conduit pipe 5 miles on Route 9 that they already said we're not doing solar or we're not doing the wind turbines.
Right.
And they're like, okay, let's just put the conduit in anyway. It's cool for me. Yeah, whatever, dude. Want us to take it out? We'll take it out next year.
It's like the joke, the lady, she looks out her window and she sees the municipal work truck going down the street. Yeah. And the first guy digging the hole with a shovel, right? And the next guy's coming by and he fills the hole in. And she watches him do this like 3 or 4 times. And she goes, I have a question for you. What are you guys doing? He says, well, he's in charge of digging the hole, and I'm in charge of backfilling the hole. But the guy that usually puts the tree in called out sick today, so we'll try it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yep.
Joe, thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks
I know you had a long
me.
day. I appreciate you coming down, dude.
Thanks for having me. We'll have to get out and hit the golf ball.
Yeah, we definitely should. That would be fun.
Like the shirt?
Thank you. I got this just for you. I did.
Nice.
Yeah. I forget the name of the place. They told me to shout them out too, but
Baked? Is that what it says on there?
it says Baked. Yeah, this is our 420 episode.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. Happy 420, everyone. I'm envious of anyone who's gets celebrating.
Right.
Pretend,
Easter bunnies are going to be really good this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Chocolate, the kids will be like, woo, man, these jelly beans are great, Mom. Shit, you got the wrong ones. They're mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, thanks again, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, great time talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, man.